Welcome to my next Big Bang Theory Season 12 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am at rewatching or watching The Big Bang Theory, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you find that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. This will be The Big Bang Theory Season 12, Episode 10. The title of this episode is called the VCR Illumination, and this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. So while preparing for everybody's dinner, Leonard and Penny review a list of topics that are verboten, since Sheldon is still upset about his super asymmetry theory being disproved. Symmetry, asymmetry, The Simpsons, Simba from The Lion King, Russians, the country, the Russian dressing, or Russian roulette, or Rocky IV, where he fought a Russian fighter, or science, success, failure, or Nobel Prizes. Sheldon and Amy join them. Amy asks what they are doing, and Bernadette replies, nothing. Sheldon explains that this is where his career is going, and runs out, followed by Amy. Poor Bernadette looks embarrassed as Howard tells her that was nice going. Amy doesn't find Sheldon next to her in bed. He's up in the living room, eating, reading, watching TV, and listening to the radio, trying to reevaluate every opinion he has ever had since he was wrong about super asymmetry. Sheldon tries both asparagus and jazz music and still doesn't like either. Amy tells him that she is also upset about their theory. Penny gets up in the morning finding Leonard having chicken fried steak for breakfast. Leonard explains that she knew he was a bad boy when she married him. Amy, still in her robe, comes in and is worried about Sheldon. Penny tells her to make him a cup of tea, but Sheldon now considers that leaf soup. Since Sheldon is now reevaluating everything, Amy is worrying that she's worrying what will happen when his reevaluation reaches her. Leonard suggests an old VHS videotape of the one person he really respects, himself. Sheldon gave it to Leonard years ago in case of an emergency. Bernadette finds Howard working with a VHS player so that he can loan it to Amy. His test tape is supposed to be an old copy of Jeopardy and recorded for his mother. However, Bernadette figures that it's probably porn. Instead, they find a young Howard performing magic as the great Houdini. He has been practicing his magic so long that he could audition for the Magic Castle in L.A. Howard never went through with it because he didn't think he was good enough. Bernadette wants him to keep trying because she doesn't want their kids to think that their father is a quitter. Sheldon has reached his podcast show and is now calling it Fine with Flags. She shows her husband the tape of his childhood emergency pep talk. He claims that he was saving that for when they would stop making Star Wars movies, but that is highly unlikely now. 10-year-old Sheldon appears, the same Sheldon that's in Young Sheldon, which was great, greets himself and tells him that he must be at a point in his future life when he is questioning everything. First, young Sheldon asks adult Sheldon to give him the code word so that the future Sheldon knows that he is not an imposter. Robot Monkey Butler. His younger self then tells older Sheldon to never forget, no matter how bad things seem. Static on the TV, and then a high school football game appears. His father, George, must have recorded over the pep talk with one of his football games. Amy asks if there was anything she could do. Sheldon wants a time machine to go back and tell his younger self that he should just give up since nothing works out the way you want it. Amy just wanted to offer Sheldon a cup of leaf soup or tea. Howard comes into the living room and finds that Bernadette had all his magic tricks from the garage set out. She wants the great Houdini to be a member of the Magic Castle. She can help him with all her beauty pageant experience. Bernadette is going to be a great pageant mom for him like her mother was for her. Leonard and Penny contact Leonard's mother. Leonard asks for some professional advice that she is not interested in giving until she learns that Sheldon needs her help, because we know that she cares about Sheldon a lot. Penny tells her that since his research paper was disapproved, Sheldon was sad, angry, and generally broken. Beverly replies that Sheldon is grieving over the loss of his paper, just like someone having lost a loved one. Bernadette has Raj over to watch the new performance/act that she has developed for Howard. Raj knows that he can help since he has seen every episode of America's Got Talent and knows talent. Bernadette announces the great Houdini, who comes down the stairs singing Magic to Do from Pippin in a sequin jacket and sporting a high weird hairdo. Next, he throws glitter in Raj's face. His introduction from Bernadette sounds like a contestant in the Miss America pageant. The Hofstetters, Leonard and Penny, visit to cheer up Sheldon and act on Beverly's advice. Things are going to get better only because Sheldon was lying face down. Sheldon doesn't want their help. The only person who can help him was erased. Leonard and Penny want Sheldon to try to bury his paper and say a few words over it. Amy suggests they bury it in the park. However, Sheldon wants to give it a Viking funeral. Instead of going to a lake and shooting the funeral boat with a flaming arrow, the bathtub will suffice, followed by a cold yoo-hoo. In the bathroom, Sheldon explains that their theory was more than scientific endeavor. It was a new and beautiful way to describe the universe and a universe that he wanted to live in. Placing the paper in the pan, they set it on fire. It looks quite beautiful until the funeral boat sets their shower curtain on fire. Howard is suffering from a glitter up his nose. Bernadette plans to take the day off and help Howard run through his act. Howard isn't really interested. However, Bernadette also still doesn't want him to be a quitter. Also, she wants to do everything her way since she is the pageant mother and the victory is hers. Too much for Howard. He decides to have an act that is more magic than pageant. Now Sheldon wakes up and finds Amy not in bed. His wife is in the living room watching his father's football game on the old VHS tape to find if any of young Sheldon's speech survive. Sheldon's dad then appears, giving his team a halftime pep talk. He tells the team that they're not going to win the game, but that doesn't make them losers. They can learn more from failure as much as they can from success. Sheldon remembers that team lost that game and that their opponent let one of their cheerleaders kick a field goal. Sheldon then considers that he is not that much different from his father. Amy then adds that from one viewpoint, he and his father's lives are symmetrical, and that from another viewpoint, they are asymmetrical. And then that is what if symmetry and asymmetry, they are observer relative in their theory. That would mean that the Russian paper would be right, but only from one perspective. Sheldon gets excited and tells Amy that they have a paper to fix. She runs off to get her laptop. Sheldon turns to the TV and says, thanks his dad. The great Houdini is performing his magic act. He borrows an expensive wristwatch from one of the judges, smashes it, and abracadabra. The watch is still smashed and the magic doesn't work. And that's what ends this episode of The Big Bang Theory. So there were some funny moments and a really touching moment was, older Sheldon seeing his father, George, from young Sheldon, who was actually on The Big Bang Theory in an episode playing a completely different character in the earlier season. So I'm going to score this episode at 8.3 out of 10. My character of the episode is Sheldon. And as many of you know, I give Penny a score because Penny is the reason why I started watching The Big Bang Theory. So looking at Penny and observing Penny in this episode, I'm going to give her an 8.0 out of 10. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of The Big Bang Theory and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please consider Hulk smashing the like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of The Big Bang Theory. What would you score the episode? Who would be your character of the episode? And if you want to rate Penny, like I do, you can go ahead and do that as well. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.